against this bill?
I call Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Kia ora, ngā mihi nui, kia koutou. Kia ora. I rise to take a call to vote in support of these three bills: the Sale of and Supply of Alcohol Bill, the Local Government Alcohol Reform Amendment Bill, and Summary Offences Alcohol Reform Amendment Bill. Mr Speaker, the Green Party will be voting in support, but we're deeply disappointed. Mr Speaker, the three bills we have in front of the House are a missed opportunity. Mr Speaker, these three bills fail to tackle the big issues facing our country. And they're significant issues, Mr Speaker. What we're talking about is New Zealand's cultural drinking problem. Mr Speaker, as we know, the first part of dealing with the problem... Mr Speaker, it's a... Mr Speaker, we've had a good interjection from the public lobby.
Just one moment. Can the messenger security just find out where that's coming from, please? I'm going to stop the clock. Mr Hughes? Oh, was it in the chamber here? Well, I'll ask the member if he wants to use to go out into the lobbies. I'll invite. Yep. Order. I did stop the clock, so Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. That might be the best contribution by the member Brendan Horan we'll see today. Mr Speaker, as I was saying, the country's got a cultural drinking problem. It's important that we acknowledge it. You know, all of us see it in our towns and our cities as we go out on the weekends and sometimes accompany police. We see it on the news, we see it in the media, we see it at public events. Mr Speaker, in my town, a third of the crime occurs down the Golden Mile, down Courtney Place, which some of our members are more noted for patronising than others. But, Mr Speaker, this is where the bulk of our crime in my city of Wellington happens. And it happens, of course, Mr Speaker, because of the alcohol problems we see, particularly on Saturday and Friday nights. We know it's causing real harm. We've heard some heartbreaking stories over the course of this debate. We've heard some heartbreaking stories in the Select Committee. We know alcohol in New Zealand is responsible for 1,000 deaths. 1,000 people's deaths can be attributed and no doubt avoidable because of the role of alcohol. Mr Speaker, you picked me up in my committee stage speech about mentioning the intoxication of members that I had seen. Mr Speaker, that got quite wide play in the media, and I think it's symptomatic of the fact that we can't still have an open and honest discussion around alcohol, the fact it is happening. I think sometimes we like to keep our heads in the sand and pretend it's happening somewhere else. But it's happening to our country, it's happening to our towns, our schools, our communities, and unfortunately sometimes to the most poorest and vulnerable Kiwis. Mr Speaker, so as I said, the Green Party will be voting in support, but we lament that the measures in this bill are not going to be the most effective that they could be. There's three big missed opportunities. The first is we see the Law Commission report there, a substantial tome. It's a real once-in-a-generation opportunity to take the momentum from this well-considered, well-researched, substantive report. It's a missed opportunity because there was genuine cross-party support across this chamber. We've heard some good things from the Labour Party, some good amendments from the Māori Party. My colleague Kevin Hagan, Green Party spokesperson, put up a number of good amendments. There was a real opportunity to get cross-party support for greater alcohol action. It didn't have to fall across the partisan lines that it has, which sadly the balance has fallen on lesser regulation, lesser action than what I think people would have wanted. And thirdly, the missed opportunity of genuine public support. The polls are saying Kiwis do want to see greater action. Really a once-in-a-generation opportunity to take the work of the Law Commission, the cross-party support and the public desire for action that it's been blown, Mr Speaker. Unfortunately, all the attention was on the smokescreen of the age issue. I'm glad we did keep it 18. I think it was all about avoiding the real issues. It wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't have been effective at reducing real harm. And in fact, it was damaging because it took away focus on those real issues. Good to see Parliament use a three-way vote, so the desire of the majority of members, the largest number of members, could be achieved in the final vote. But what we've failed to address is those real issues. The issues of accessibility, advertising and intoxicated driving, amongst many others. We know in the period between 1990 and 2010, there's been 8,000 new alcohol outlets in New Zealand. There's been 1,000 alcohol outlets now that sell alcohol 24/7, Mr Speaker, and it's good that we see the 65% of people in the Health Sponsorship Council say that there are too many liquor outlets. We have real need for action on accessibility of alcohol, likewise of advertising, because we have a barrage of it on TV. I understand annually around 70 million is spent. We know the studies show that numerous, particularly young people, remember the ads. We've got to remember why the alcohol industry is spending so much money on alcohol advertising, and the simple answer is they're spending it because it works. Lastly, intoxicated driving, a real opportunity to move into international norms, lower the blood alcohol, Mr Speaker. Glad to be voting for alcohol measures, but we could...
Sorry to interrupt the honourable member. I call Mike Sabin.